You can claim a credit for any GST included. GST TIN number is required to file with the tax administrative authorities. Whatever the transaction I do in the business, everything will be recorded in that particular number. As per this section, value of taxable supply is transaction value, which is the price actually paid. Hello my dear students, I am Ajay, Department of Commerce and Management, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, a Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. My dear students, in today's class, we are going to discuss about Introduction on Indirect Tax 2. Let's go to the first slide. Here, the first chapter, these are all the chapter you are going to study under the GST or Indirect Tax 2. First one, value of taxable supply. Second one, input tax credit. Third one, tax invoice. Fourth one, registration under GST. What are the process or steps under GST registration? Next one, returns. And last one is the Customs Act 1962. See, the first chapter is value of taxable supply. As per section 15, what do you mean by value of taxable supply? As per this section, value of taxable supply is transaction value, which is the price actually paid or payable for the supply of goods or service. See, on the base of taxable value of taxable supply only, the government or the tax authority can calculate the amount of tax payable by the supplier. So, the actual cost of the product or the whatever the amount which is paid or payable by the purchaser will be the taxable value of taxable supply, and the price is the sole consideration. The actual price of the supply will be the sole consideration for the calculation of GST. Also, where the supplier and the recipient are not related or unrelated parties. They may be related or unrelated, but the sole consideration is the taxable, the actual price of the product or the actual value of the supply will be considered for the calculation of taxable supply or tax payable. Next one, input tax credit. What do you mean by input tax credit? You can claim a credit for any GST included in the price of any goods and service you buy for your business. See, for example, I have a business, I am a producer of car, I am producing car. See, for every car, to produce every car, I need raw materials worth of 1 lakh rupees. I need raw materials worth of 1 lakh rupees. For this raw materials, I will pay 10% tax. So, it will become 10,000. See, for input, raw materials means input. I have paid tax how much? 10,000 rupees tax I have paid. While selling car, I will add the value. I will produce a car by utilizing these raw materials. I will produce a car. The worth of car, the actual price of the car will be 2 lakh. The actual price of the car will be 2 lakh. For this 2 lakh, while selling this car, again I have to pay the tax. It will become 10%. So, total tax payable is 20,000. See, I purchase raw materials for production of car. The worth of raw material is 1 lakh rupees. For this, I have to pay tax 10%. The amount is 10,000 rupees. Again, after purchasing raw materials, I will produce the car. Cost price of the car is 2 lakh rupees. Now, I am selling the car, and for this sale, I have to pay the tax. While supplying the car, I have to pay the tax of 10%. The total tax payable is 20%. Here, out of this 20,000, already I have paid tax of rupees 10,000. I will get credit. This 10,000 will be deducted from the total tax payable. Total tax payable is 20,000. Out of 20,000, already I have paid the tax of 10,000. Remaining 10,000 I have to pay the tax. This is called as input tax credit. So, how to calculate these things will comes under input tax credit. This is called GST credit or input tax credit for the tax included in the price of your business inputs. Already whatever the tax we have paid while purchasing input, that amount will be credited. While paying the tax on output, the amount can be the tax, excess tax, whatever we have paid, tax will be credited. Next one, tax invoice. Under the GST regime, an invoice or a tax invoice means the tax invoice referred to in section 31 of the CGST Act 2017. This section mandates issuance of invoice or a bill of supply for every supply of goods or service. See, as a businessman, I have to issue a bill or a tax invoice for every supply of goods. Tax invoice contains value of the product, quality, quantity of the product, the date of the invoice, and also place where we are sending the goods. All the details the tax invoice will be containing. So, tax invoice is very important, and this is theory oriented chapter. Next one, registration under GST Act. See, registration of any business entity under the GST law implies obtaining a unique number from the concerned tax authority. See, as a businessman, I have to get registered under the GST Act. I will get a unique number called GST TIN number. Authorities for the purpose of collecting tax. On the basis of that number, whatever the transaction I do in the business, everything will be recorded in that particular number. So, if I get input tax credit or if any issue with the tax authority, I can get solved. So, whenever I go to the tax authority, they will ask for unique number called TIN number. So, for this reason, a registered person can only get the input tax credit on behalf of the government and to avail input tax credit for the taxes on his inward supplies. That's what input tax credit. So, only registered person can get input tax credit. So, there are so many procedures and the steps we can follow to get registered under input tax credit. Those things you will study in this chapter. Next slide. Returns. What do you mean by returns? See, as a businessman, I have to give all the details to the tax authority or the government. A GST return is a document. It is a document which contains details of all incomes, whatever the incomes I get to in my business, and sale, what are all the sales I did in my business, and all the expenses incurred while conducting the business. It may be purchase, which a taxpayer every GST TIN number is required to file with the tax administrative authorities. All the details should be filed before the tax authority. This is called as GST return. On the basis of these details, only you can get input tax credit also. This is used by tax authorities to calculate net tax liability. So, on the basis of all this information, the government or the tax authority will calculate the amount of tax payable by the concerned business person. It may be input tax credit also available on the basis of information what you have produced or what are all the information you filed before the tax authority. This is called as tax returns. The next chapter is Custom Duty Act 1962. Under this chapter, we are going to study what are the advantages of custom duty and also why custom duty is imposed. The custom duty is imposed on purchase or import or export of goods from one country to other country. So, let's see the meaning. Custom duty refers to the tax imposed on goods when they are transported across international border. For example, if we import goods from foreign country or if we export goods to foreign country, we have to pay the custom duty. In simple terms, it is the tax that is levied on import and export of goods. The government used this duty to raise the revenue. The first advantage of custom duty to raise the revenue and also to safeguard our domestic industries and also to regulate the movement of goods. So, for example, if the government did not regulate the movement of goods, the customers may purchase illegal goods or it leads to illegal activity. That's why government has to regulate the movement of goods and also to safeguard the domestic market. The custom duty is very, very important. So these are all topics will be covered under customs duty. And also what are the types of custom duty? Basic custom duty, additional custom duty, and also education cess is there. Other cess will be added to the custom duty, and how to calculate the custom duty will be covered under this chapter. And this chapter is problem oriented chapter, and also very, very important chapter. They asked for 15 marks. The main question will comes under this chapter. Now, book reference. What are the books you can refer? First one, Taxman publication. Next one, Compendium on Goods and Service Tax, written by Dr. Manju. Yes, and also www.cbes.gov.in. Next one, Systematic Approach GST, Dr. Ravi Gupta, written by Dr. Ravi Gupta. Next one, Class Planner. See, we need total 30 hours to finish. Approximately we need 30 hours. First one, value of taxable supply, we need 6 hours. Second one, input tax credit, we need 7 hours. Next one, tax invoice, we need 3 hours. Registration under GST, we need 4 hours. And also return, we need 3 hours. See, these are all theory oriented chapter, and these 3 are problem oriented chapters. Next one, this is your internal chapters. See, for first internals, we need value of taxable supply and input tax credit for the first internals. Second internals, tax invoice, registration under GST for second internals. And third one, Custom Act 1962 and value of taxable supply for third internals. Next one, your question paper pattern. See, in part A, you have to answer any 4 questions. Each question carries 5 marks. Total, you will get 20 marks. Next one, in part B, there will be 3 questions. You have to answer any 3 questions. Each question carries 10 marks. Total, you will get 30 marks. In part C, each question carries 15 marks. You have to answer any 2 questions. Total, you will get 30 marks. Total paper contains for 80 marks. Next one, chapter wise marks allotment. See, in your question paper, the value of taxable supply, you will be having one problem. See, in tax, usually they will ask 10 marks problem plus 5 marks theory, you will get 15 marks. Okay, again it may ask for 15 marks also, 10 marks question theory also they may ask, and also 5 marks theory also, there will be theory 1. Next one, input tax credit, you will be having 15 marks problem, maybe 10 marks problem plus 5 marks theory, it will become 15 marks. Again 10 marks question you may get. Next one, 5 marks question also there will be. Next one, tax invoice, this is theory oriented, so 10 marks question you will be having. Next one, for 5 marks you will be having one theory. Registration under GST, this is also theory oriented, so 15 marks question will be there. For example, they may ask 10 marks question plus 5 marks question, it will become 15 marks, and also 10 marks question in part B, and also in part C 5 marks question also you will get. In custom duty, you will be having 15 marks problem only. Usually they will ask 15 marks problem, and also for theory 10 marks theory and 5 marks theory. Sometimes calculation of custom duty 5 marks also you will get problem. Next one, learning outcome. What are the advantages or what are the objectives, what are the outcome you will get after learning GST? To make the students to familiarize with concept of GST. The main objective of this syllabus or this chapter or this GST to make students to familiarize with the concept. What are the concept under GST? For example, it may be registration of GST is there, custom duty is there, input tax credit is there, and value of supply is there, returns is there. So under this chapter, what are the steps, what are the concept we will study? This is the main objective of this chapter. Next one, make the students to understand the provision. So this subject, so many provisions are there, so there will be so many, under so many provision we have to add certain items, we have to get certain items. What are the provision you will understand by studying this subject. Next one, regarding determination. See, make students to understand regarding determination of the value of taxable supply. So, what are the concepts of value of taxable supply? You'll be having you will have to understand new words, new concept under the keywords will be there under the taxable value of taxable supply. Next one, input tax credit and filling of GST or GST registration form. Next one, to make the students to familiarize with provisions of custom duty with case studies. You will have to answer problem oriented question in this chapter and also some case study we can discuss. So my dear students, we will close this session. Again, we will meet in the next session. Till then, thank you so much.